Hello, welcome to American Baker in Germany. I'm Michelle, and today we are continuing our Baking Basics series by talking about different kinds of yeast. When I go to the store, I can get dry yeast and I can get live yeast, and what in the world is the difference between them? So let's get started.
Before we get into the differences between these two yeasts, let's talk about what yeast is for a moment. It's very different from baking soda or baking powder in that those two are both chemical leaveners, so they create the height in the baked goods by creating a chemical reaction. Yeast is completely different. Yeast is a living organism. Yeast is a fungus. Yeast must be fed to grow and it needs time. So how do you get a living organism into a state where it will keep for several weeks and allow it to be bought in a store? You have to force it into a dormant state. That can be done in several ways. So these two kinds of yeast you can buy have been put into a dormant state in two different ways. Live yeast, as it's called, has been chilled and evaporated a bit, but it mostly keeps its dormant state by remaining chilled. This will survive in the fridge for up to 4 weeks. After that, or if it's not properly chilled, it can die. If it dies, it can't leaven your bread anymore. Dry yeast has been put into a dormant state by being completely evaporated and has no water left in it. This will survive a very long time on the shelf. As long as it's kept dry, it should remain in its dormant state, although over time it can also die. Once again, if it dies, it can't leaven your bread anymore. There isn't a huge difference in the use of these yeasts, but there is a small difference in the way the yeast themselves react. Both have to be activated. That means we need to bring them out of their dormant state. Both are added to warm water. Let me just mention the water temperature. Hot water will kill your yeast. Cold water won't bring it out of dormancy. The water must be warm. Around body temperature is perfect. Then we need to feed the yeast. Sugar is the easiest way, but you can also add a bit of flour to your yeasty water to feed it. It must be fed something high in carbohydrates that breaks down easily. That's why sugar is great for yeast, and most bread recipes call for a bit of sugar. The difference in the reactions is live yeast will react faster and will more quickly be ready to leaven your bread. Dry yeast will need a few minutes longer to react and may need a bit more time for the initial raising. So let's talk conversion. What do you do if your recipe calls for dry yeast and all you have is live yeast, or vice versa? It's an easy conversion because of the way yeast is typically sold. Dry yeast is sold in small packages of 7 grams or about a tablespoon. Live yeast is sold in blocks of about 42 grams. One package of dry yeast contains the same amount of yeast as in a block of live yeast. So 1 tablespoon dry yeast to 1 block of live yeast. Easy. If your recipe calls for a teaspoon of dry yeast, that's about 1/3 of a block of live yeast. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you today. For more cakes and tutorials, visit our website at AmericanBakerInGermany.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe for more recipes and tutorials.